The wind slammed against the diner windows, rattling the glass like angry fists. Rain lashed sideways, turning the night into a smear of neon streaks and thunder. Inside, the waitress wiped a coffee-stained counter with muscle memory and a blank stare. Her shift was over, but she stayed. Something in her gut told her not to leave. Then the door creaked open. In stumbled a girl, early 20s, designer heels in hand, mascara trailing like war paint. She laughed, a breathless giggle soaked in vodka and confusion. The waitress said, "You okay?" The girl blinked slowly. "Am I at the Hamptons yet?" The waitress paused. "You are at Benny's off Route 19. The girl collapsed into a booth, head tilted, lips curled. "Then I guess I missed my jet." The silence that followed was heavy. Two strangers soaked in the ache of their separate storms, now sitting in the same one. The waitress grabbed a towel from behind the counter and approached the booth cautiously. The girl had curled up like a wet cat, her makeup now more of a suggestion than a statement. "Here," the waitress said, gently laying the towel on her lap. The heiress looked up with a squint. "Do you always play Florence Nightingale to train wrecks?" The waitress sat opposite her. "Only the ones who stumble into my diner during a thunderstorm." The girl smirked. "You make good coffee?" The waitress replied, "Depends if you can keep it down." There was silence for a beat. Then, unexpectedly, the heiress's voice cracked. "I think I left something important in that car. Something I can't get back." Her eyes welled, then blinked it away. The waitress didn't press. She just stood, walked to the coffee pot, and poured her a cup, the clink of ceramic the only answer she gave. The heiress stared into the coffee like it held secrets. She clutched the mug in both hands, as if trying to absorb its warmth through her bones. The waitress refilled the sugar canister without a word. "I wasn't supposed to end up here," the heiress murmured. "You think any of us are?" the waitress replied, not looking up. The girl chuckled, bitter. "You ever crash a Maserati into a ditch and realize your friends left you for dead?" That made the waitress glance over. "No," she said slowly. "But I've been left before. People only stay when they need something." The heiress nodded, then looked up for the first time. "Really, look. What's your name?" The waitress hesitated. "Maya." "I'm Lila," the girl whispered, voice catching. "Don't let the mascara fool you. I'm not as put together as I look." Maya offered a small smile. "Could have fooled me." Lightning flashed again, illuminating the street outside. Maya glanced toward the road. No sign of a car. "Where exactly did you crash?" she asked. Lila waved vaguely. "Somewhere past that creepy billboard with the clown on it." Maya's brows rose. "That's 5 miles out." Lila shrugged. "I ran, I think. It's all fuzzy." Maya leaned back. "You could have died out there." Lila looked at her hands. "I think I wanted to." Silence fell again. Then Maya stood. "Let me get you some fries. You look like you haven't eaten since the recession." Lila laughed weakly. "Is that on the menu?" Maya shot her a dry look. "No, but compassion is free." Maya brought back a steaming plate of fries, the scent of salt and grease suddenly grounding the room in something real. Lila perked up slightly, grabbing one with delicate fingers, biting slowly. "Tastes better than caviar right now." Maya smirked. "I'll take that as a compliment." Lila ate in silence, savoring each bite like it might be her last. Maya sat nearby, not talking, just existing with her. Outside, the storm raged on. Inside, the silence between them shifted, from strangers to something softer. "Do you think people like me can start over?" Lila asked quietly. Maya thought for a moment. "Only if you stop waiting for someone to save you." Lila nodded, eyes flicking to Maya. "What if I already met her?" Maya sat behind the counter, flipping through the receipts, but her eyes weren't on the paper. They drifted to Lila, curled up in the booth, now half asleep with her head against the window. The storm was still wild, but less violent now, a tired sigh rather than a scream. Maya finally asked, "So what happened after the crash?" Lila stirred. "They were supposed to wait. We had a fight. I wanted to go home, they didn't." Her lips curled bitterly. "Apparently I'm a buzzkill when I start crying about my mother at 2 a.m. Maya leaned forward. "Is she gone?" Lila nodded. "A year ago today. I was driving to her grave. I never made it." Maya's voice softened. "You still can." Lila looked away. "I don't think she'd want to see me like this." Maya stood up slowly. "Moms don't care how you look. They just care that you show up." Lila sat up groggily as the rain began to let up. "Where's your mom?" she asked. Maya hesitated, then replied, "She left when I was 10. Haven't heard from her since." Lila blinked, surprised. "That's awful." Maya shrugged. "You stop waiting eventually. Then one day you realize you don't need their apology to live." Lila leaned forward. "I wish I had that strength." Maya turned, looking her dead in the eyes. "It's not strength. It's survival." The words hung in the air, heavier than the humidity outside. "Why do you work here?" Lila asked, changing the subject. Maya smiled faintly. "Because it's open. Because people walk in broken and leave slightly less broken. And because someone once gave me a place to sit when I had nowhere else to go." Lila swallowed. "You're that person now." The clock above the kitchen door clicked softly. 4:15 a.m. Maya rose and started wiping tables. Lila stood too, uncertain. "Want help?" Maya looked at her surprised. "Sure, grab a cloth." They moved around the diner in silence, cleaning as dawn teased the horizon. Lila wiped down menus, her movements clumsy but sincere. Maya watched her with quiet approval. "You ever worked before?" Lila grinned. "My last job was Instagram influencer. This is new." Maya chuckled. "Well, congrats. You're underpaid now." They laughed. It was the first real one all night. The sound bounced off chrome and glass and settled into the walls like it belonged there. "It's weird," Lila said. "I feel more human here than I have in years." Maya nodded. "Welcome back to the world." Maya brought out 2 slices of pie, setting one in front of Lila. "It's not gourmet, but it's honest." Lila smiled. "Apple, of course," Maya said. "You don't seem like a cherry girl." Lila took a bite and sighed. "You know, I never had to do anything. Everything was handed to me. And it turns out, when people stop handing you things, you kind of fall apart." Maya tilted her head. "Maybe now you get to choose what you build." Lila looked out the window. "Isn't that scary?" Maya replied, "Sure, but it's also freedom." Lila watched the sun inch above the wet horizon. "I think I want to find the cemetery. I think I need to." Maya nodded. "I'll draw you a map. It's not far." The rain had stopped. Steam curled from the pavement as morning heat replaced the storm. Maya stepped outside with Lila, handing her a scribbled map. "You'll pass the big oak tree. Then there's a gravel road. Don't miss it." Lila nodded, folding the paper carefully. "You sure you'll be okay here?" Maya smiled. "Storm's over. It's just another Tuesday now." Lila turned toward the lot where her wrecked car probably sat. "I think I left more than a car back there." Maya rested a hand briefly on her shoulder. "Then don't go back for it. Just go forward." Lila looked at her. "You ever need a ride to nowhere? Look me up." Maya watched her walk off, drenched clothes now clinging less from rain and more from determination. The diner behind her still smelled of coffee and healing. The diner had returned to its quiet rhythm. A few regulars trickled in by 6 a.m. Truckers and overnight workers, offering nods and grunts that Maya returned with half smiles. But her mind wasn't in it. She found herself glancing at the booth where Lila had sat. Empty now. A ghost of presence still clung to it. Maya poured coffee, refilled ketchup bottles, and kept looking out the window every time tires crunched the gravel. Finally, curiosity outweighed pride. She wiped her hands and stepped out back, phone in hand. The message she typed was short. "Did you find it?" She hovered over send, then deleted it. She didn't even have Lila's number. That was the point, wasn't it? The kind of goodbye that felt permanent, but still itched like unfinished business. 2 days passed. Rain came and went, and so did the faces at the diner. Maya kept her routine, but her thoughts kept drifting. Until one afternoon, a black SUV pulled up and parked unevenly. The door opened, and a tall man in a tailored suit stepped out, holding a phone and looking lost. Maya watched him warily as he entered. "Excuse me," he said. "I'm looking for someone. A young woman, Lila Hart. She said she was here." Maya blinked. "She didn't leave a number." The man exhaled sharply. "I'm her brother. She left a message this morning. Said a waitress here saved her life." Maya folded her arms. "She saved her own life. I just gave her pie." The man smiled faintly. "Well, she wanted me to find you. She says she owes you something. She left this." He slid a small envelope onto the counter. Maya didn't open the envelope until the man left. It contained a handwritten note and a business card. The card was embossed, "Lila Hart, Hart Family Foundation." The note read, "For the first time in my life I wasn't treated like a burden. You saw me. I don't know how to thank you, but maybe this helps." Below was a scribbled line, "If you ever want to run a place of your own, call me." Maya read it twice, then again. She sat down slowly, staring at the card. It felt unreal, like a door she never thought would exist had quietly opened behind her. But still, she hesitated. Was it pity? Was it charity? Or was it genuine? The pie case next to her hummed softly. She looked around the diner she'd called home for years. Could she leave it? Did she dare dream beyond it? That night, Maya stayed after close, wiping down surfaces slower than usual. The jukebox played low, a scratchy jazz tune that seemed to echo her thoughts. Her phone sat beside her, screen lit with the contact info from the card. She'd typed out a message, but hadn't sent it. She deleted it, then retyped it, then deleted again. What if this was a mistake? What if Lila had just felt guilty? The bell above the door jingled. Maya looked up, startled. An old man in a raincoat smiled. "Still open?" Maya nodded. "No. No. Always." He took a seat at the booth where Lila had been and ordered coffee. Maya poured it, then paused. The man looked up. "You seem like someone who's standing in a doorway but too scared to walk through." Maya raised an eyebrow. "You always speak in metaphors." The man sipped. "Only when they fit." After the man left, Maya sat down in Lila's booth. The seat still held memory, ghosts of a soaked designer dress, mascara-streaked cheeks, and hesitant laughter. She stared out the window into the quiet night. The street was empty, except for a raccoon sniffing near the trash. Maya chuckled softly. Life never stopped being strange. She picked up her phone again and finally typed, "You were right. About the pie. And maybe about me." She hit send before she could overthink it. A weight lifted. Somewhere across the city, Lila's phone would light up. Maybe she'd smile. Maybe she'd respond. Or maybe not. But Maya had taken the step. And sometimes that was everything. Outside, the wind picked up. Not a storm. Just the breeze. A week passed with no reply. Maya resumed her rhythm, but something inside had shifted. The booth Lila once occupied stayed empty, despite others passing through. One afternoon, as Maya restocked syrup bottles, her manager approached. "Mail for you." Hand-delivered. He held out a heavy manila envelope. Maya opened it slowly. Inside, a letter, a printed proposal, and a photograph of an old boarded-up diner in downtown Eastfield. Scribbled across the photo, "Think this place wants to be something more." The letter from Lila was short. Found a fixer-upper. Thought of you. If you want it, it's yours to help build. No strings. Just belief. Maya leaned against the counter, breath caught in her chest. The walls of Benny's suddenly felt smaller. Maybe this was real. Maybe the universe was calling her name. For once, not as a whisper, but a shout. After her shift, Maya walked through Eastfield with the photo in hand, following the crinkled map Lila had included. The streets here were worn, brick sidewalks uneven, old signs rusted and hanging. But there it was, the diner in the photo. Heart and Hearth Diner painted faintly above weather-beaten doors. Ashiati. Broken windows. Peeling paint. But it stood with a kind of dignity. Maya walked the perimeter, hand brushing rusted railings, eyes scanning every crack and flaw like they whispered potential. She stood still for a long time, heart pounding, not in fear, but in recognition. Like the building itself was waiting. Not just for repair, but for her. And for the first time, the idea of leaving Benny's didn't feel like betrayal. It felt like growth. Inside was worse than expected. Dust coated every surface, spiderwebs dangled like history, and the air reeked of rot. But Maya stepped in anyway. She walked through each room, the kitchen, the pantry, the busted back office. And in each step, her mind replaced grime with chrome, dust with scent of fries, silence with music and voices. Her phone buzzed. A message from Lila. I'll match whatever you put in. Just say the word. Maya sat on a cracked stool near the window. She thought of the girl who walked into Benny's soaked and broken, and of the woman now offering her a way out and a way forward. Maya typed back. Let's do it. Together. She pressed send, smiling. The ceiling leaked. The floor groaned. But the dream? It stood strong. Renovation began the following week. Maya rolled up her sleeves and scrubbed walls until her arms ached. Lila showed up on day 3, jeans and a paint-stained hoodie replacing her usual glamour. You showed, Maya said. Lila grinned, hauling in a bucket. I promised, didn't I? They worked in tandem, painting, scraping, laughing. Lila learned how to use a power drill. Maya learned Lila's real laugh, unfiltered and full. At night, they sat on crates and ate takeout, talking about everything and nothing. Lila confessed, "This is the first thing I've ever done that's mine." Maya looked around the half-painted diner. Then, let's make it ours. Under bare bulbs and unfinished beams, something bloomed, not just hope, but friendship. The walls were fresh. The booths were in. The sign out front still read, "Coming soon." But inside, the place thrummed with energy. Maya adjusted the apron that now bore the new logo. Heart and Hearth. Lila hung the final framed photograph on the wall, a black and white snapshot of Benny's counter, with Maya blurry in the background, mid-pour doy. Had to sneak back for that one, she smirked. Maya shook her head. You're impossible. But her eyes were glassy. Opening day was 2 weeks away, but today felt like arrival. Music played faintly. The fryers sizzled. The neon lights flickered to life for the first time. Maya stood still, breathing it in. She had stepped through the door. She was inside her dream now, and Lila was right beside her. Opening day came with a line out the door. Locals, skeptics, and friends filled the newly minted Heart and Hearth with chatter, the clinking of utensils, and the smell of butter and cinnamon. Maya worked the counter with effortless grace, pouring coffee, greeting old faces from Benny's. Lila, surprisingly composed, floated from table to table, checking on guests. She beamed, but her eyes searched often for something or someone. Mid-shift, Maya leaned over and said, "You expecting a critic or an old flame?" Lila smirked. "Neither. Just someone who said I'd never amount to more than a scandal headline." Maya raised an eyebrow. "Want me to save them a seat, or serve humble pie?" They laughed. It wasn't nervous this time. It was ownership. Power in roots and reinvention. Hours passed in a blur of plates and thank yous. Near closing, a familiar face walked in. Mr. Hart, Lila's father. Silver hair. Tailored suit. Expression unreadable. He scanned the diner, then spotted Lila and approached. Maya watched from afar, tension bristling in her shoulders. "You really did it," Mr. Hart said. Lila kept her tone even. "I didn't do it alone." He looked around, lips tightening. "It's clean, warm, small." She didn't flinch. "It's real. Unlike the mansion I crashed my car outside of." A beat of silence. Then he handed her a small envelope. "Your trust funds reinstated. No conditions." Lila didn't reach for it. "This place is mine. I don't need your money." She turned and walked away, leaving the envelope on the counter. Maya approached after Mr. Hart left, finding Lila sitting in the back hallway alone. "You okay?" Lila nodded slowly. "That was the first time I've ever said no to him." Maya sat beside her. "You didn't just say no, you said yes. To yourself." Lila leaned her head against the wall. "I'm scared. What if I mess all this up?" Maya grinned. "Then we'll clean it up, paint over it, start again. That's what we do here, remember?" Lila laughed through her tears. "I don't deserve you." Maya nudged her gently. "We don't earn people, we choose them." The hallway buzzed with distant sounds of dishes and laughter. But here, between two friends, everything was still. And that stillness felt more valuable than any inheritance. Later that night, with the last guests gone, and the chairs flipped onto tables, Maya and Lila mopped the floors like they had in the old days. They moved in rhythm, humming along with the jukebox's gentle tune. "You think this'll last?" Lila asked. Maya shrugged. "Nothing lasts forever, but it's ours now, that counts." Lila twirled the mop like a dance partner. "You know, when I showed up that night I thought I was done. I thought I'd reached the last page." Maya paused, leaning on her mop. Turns out it was just a new chapter. They stood there, framed in silence, the neon sign outside flickering proudly. Lila stepped closer. "If this place can be rebuilt, maybe so can I." Maya nodded. "You already are." A few weeks later, the booth near the window became a regular's favorite. A quiet old man who always asked for black coffee and apple pie. Maya recognized him instantly. The metaphor guy. "You again," she said. He smiled. "Told you I liked stories with second chances." He gestured toward the photos on the wall. Maya, Lila, opening day snapshots. "Seems you're living one." Maya poured his coffee. "Seems we both are." He paused. "Did you ever tell her how much she changed you?" Maya considered. "She didn't change me. She reminded me I was never broken to begin with." As he stirred his coffee, he said softly, "Most powerful storms don't destroy. They reveal." Maya nodded slowly. The sign outside buzzed to life. Another day was beginning. And they were ready. Spring came with rain, but not the kind that ruined things. This rain felt like renewal. Heart and hearth had settled into a rhythm. Locals brought their families. Maya taught 2 new hires how to grill without burning toast. Lila worked the books, her fingers tapping calculator buttons with surprising speed. They made mistakes. An overcooked roast here, a misdelivered pie there. But laughter followed errors now, not shame. One morning a journalist arrived, notepad in hand, asking about the story behind the name. Lila gestured toward Maya. "She's the hearth. I'm just the heart." Maya rolled her eyes. "More like you're the storm that started the fire." The reporter smiled. "Sounds like a story worth telling." Maya looked at Lila, pride swimming beneath sarcasm. "It is." The article ran a week later. From storm to sanctuary. 2 women rewrite their story. It featured a photo of Maya and Lila, standing outside the diner, arms crossed, proud smiles. Business doubled. Tourists arrived. But with the crowd came pressure. Long hours. Miscommunication. One night after a double shift, Maya snapped. You didn't reorder flour again? Lila, exhausted, fired back. I'm not perfect, Maya. I'm trying. The silence that followed was painful. Maya exhaled, turning away. Lila muttered, maybe you were better off alone. The words stung. Maya said nothing. They closed up that night in silence. Even dreams, it seemed, weren't immune to the weight of reality. The next day passed in cold coordination, bare minimum words, clinical task division. The regulars noticed. The booth where laughter once bloomed felt colder. That night, Lila found Maya outside, sitting on the back steps, cigarette unlit between her fingers. I didn't mean it, Lila said quietly. Maya didn't look up. I know, but you thought it. Lila sat beside her. Sometimes I think I ruin things just by showing up. Maya turned finally. You didn't ruin this. You helped build it. Silence. Then Lila whispered, I'm scared you'll outgrow me. Maya chuckled, bitter and soft. I thought the same about you. They sat shoulder to shoulder, broken open but close again. Forgiveness, it seemed, was less about words and more about staying put. The following morning, a closed for repairs sign hung in the window. But there were no repairs. Inside, Maya and Lila scrubbed everything from scratch. Not out of necessity, but to reset. As music played, they repainted the pantry door, rewrote the menu, even reorganized the pie shelf. They didn't speak much, just shared glances, nods, and smiles that said, we're still here. In the afternoon, Lila pulled out 2 aprons she'd secretly ordered, new branding, hand-stitched names. She handed one to Maya. I figured if we're rebuilding, let's wear it proud. Maya slid it on, eyes misting. Let's reopen tomorrow, for real this time. When Heart and Hearth reopened the next day, something was different. The place hadn't changed, but the energy had. The regulars returned, relieved. The air was lighter. That night, as the last customer left, Maya turned the sign to closed and leaned against the glass. Lila sat nearby, a pie slice in hand. We good? She asked. Maya nodded. We're growing. That's messy but good. Lila grinned. So what now? Maya looked around the empty diner and smiled. Now we stop surviving and start dreaming again. Outside, the spring wind picked up. Not wild like before, just a reminder of how far they'd come. Inside, 2 women stood in the home they built from wreckage. Months passed. Summer kissed the windows with golden light and long days. Heart and Hearth had become more than a diner. It was a community landmark. A place for birthdays, reconciliations, even one quiet marriage proposal. Maya watched it all unfold, apron dusted with flour, eyes observant. Lila, now fluent in invoices and customer complaints, danced through the chaos like she was born for it. One morning, a teenage girl wandered in alone, soaking wet from a summer storm. Hair plastered to her forehead. Silent. Nervous. Danged. Maya met her with a towel and a question. Coffee? The girl nodded. Lila brought pie. They didn't press. Just sat nearby. That night, Maya said softly, she reminded me of someone. Lila looked across the diner, smile fading into memory. Yeah, me. The girl became a regular. Her name was Zoe. She rarely spoke, but she always came. Maya learned her pie preference. Lila kept a booth reserved. One night, Zoe brought a sketchbook. She slid it across the table to Maya. Inside, drawings of the diner, of Maya at the counter, Lila laughing, customers captured in charcoal. You're an artist, Lila said. Zoe shrugged. This place is the only thing that feels real. Maya blinked, then whispered, that's exactly how it started for us. Zoe looked up. How does it stay real? Lila smiled, gentle but fierce. You show up, even when it's hard. Especially then. In that moment the diner wasn't just a refuge. It was a spark, passed hand to hand, like flame. That night, Lila sat out back, legs crossed on a milk crate, journal open in her lap. She scribbled plans, dreams of expanding, of community dinners, of late-night poetry readings. Maya joined her, 2 mugs of cocoa in hand. Still making blueprints, she teased? Lila laughed. I want to make this more, not bigger, just deeper. Maya nodded. Funny, I used to think surviving was enough, but now I want to build something that outlives me. Lila looked at her, soft and certain. You already are. They clinked mugs. In the distance, thunder rolled, not threatening, just reminding them that storms don't always destroy. Sometimes they clear space. A few weeks later, Zoe stood in the doorway of the diner, holding a folder. It's for school, she said, handing Maya an application for a youth art residency. But I need a letter. Maya smiled. Of course. She wrote it that night, at the booth where Lila once cried over a forgotten car. She poured every ounce of belief into the page. When Zoe got accepted, she wept in Maya's arms. Lila joined them, eyes shining. Told you this place was magic, she whispered. Maya hugged Zoe tighter. No, it's just honest. That's rarer. Outside the sun rose. Inside, hearts did too. 1 year to the day since the storm, the diner closed early. Maya and Lila sat in the booth where it all began, one last slice of pie between them. The rain returned, gentle and rhythmic. You remember what you said? Maya asked. Lila grinned. That I missed my jet? They both laughed. Then Maya whispered, he laughed when I told him I had a dream. A real one. He said it would never matter, and maybe it won't, but this? She gestured to the walls, the light, the heartbeats within. This mattered to her, and us. Lila reached across the table. He laughed, but then it did. Outside the storm wept. Inside the hearth glowed.